All right, guys, welcome in after the San Francisco 49ers fall to the Buccaneers 30-19. Obviously, the loss hurt, but the loss of Fred Warner potentially will hurt the most. We will have to see what that actually looks like. I would have to say we won't have the final answers, even when we hear from Kyle Shanahan when he goes to the podium. I do believe what we will see is, at least of what we have heard so far with Fred Warner, is that he has a dislocated ankle, and we have to wait additional reports to be able to see what the extent of his injury is and how long he will potentially be out. So, just a brutal development from this game. Obviously, the loss hurts, but I would have to say that the loss of Fred Warner potentially hurts even more because let's face it, Fred Warner is the heart and soul of the San Francisco 49ers defense and basically the entire team. So losing Fred is just a brutal sight to see. So I'm sure that we're not going to get updates until tomorrow during the press conference with Kyle Shanahan after they've had an opportunity to do MRIs and things of that nature. But yeah, just literally insult to injury with this particular game against the San Francisco or against the Bucs, man. It's just this one was brutal and it started out ugly, right? It started out with interception from Mac Jones on a pass intended for Kendrick Bourne. And it looked like they had a miscommunication on that particular play where it looked like Mac Jones was throwing an out. It looked like Kendrick Bourne was running a comeback. They had some kind of miscommunication. And as a result of that, we did see an interception thrown. So right out the gate, they made a crucial error that ultimately could have had a pretty substantial impact on the game because after the 49ers defense initially stopped the Bucs offense, the Bucs come back, get the ball back, and they move down the field and they score. So that one was a brutal one. And obviously to me, and I think a lot of people as well, the sequence where it was 3rd and 14, I believe it was, and you have Bryce Huff and you have Travis Gibson, who have Baker Mayfield essentially sacked, like dead to rights. They got their literal hands on the guy, and it almost looks like Baker Mayfield goes into the fetal position, and both of the players fall off of him. And as a result of that, Baker then gets out into space, and then not only does he make guys miss, but he makes enough guys miss to get a first down. And then that first down leads to that great touchdown throw up the seam. As Baker Mayfield talked about it, he said that wasn't the route that was called. That was basically a young wide receiver recognizing the hole in the defense, running up the seam, calling for it, and got it to him. So pretty good play by them. Kyle Shanahan is speaking at the podium now. So any updates that come through, we will, of course, relay those to you. Okay, here we go. Fred Warner has a fractured ankle. Bummer. So it is a fractured ankle for Fred Warner. I don't know if we are going to get a timetable. We'll see, but not the update that we were looking for. Fred Warner, according to Kyle Shanahan, has a dislocated and a fractured ankle. So he will likely miss substantial time, and he will require surgery, according to Kyle Shanahan. So just a brutal one. I'm going to make a post here. 49ers Fred Warner will require surgery for a dislocated and fractured ankle, according to Kyle Shanahan. Just the biggest of all bummers, because that could be a season ender for Fred Warner. Fred Warner has been, in my opinion, one of, if not the best defensive players in the NFL. And he was on a defensive player of the year trajectory. And now he probably is done for the year. So, again, we'll see. Yep, officially, he will miss the rest of the season. So, man, unbelievable. Whew. Fred Warner likely out for the season. Such a brutal injury on top of a brutal game. And just honestly, we had a lot of good vibes going in this one. And now the vibes are at least temporarily, they are suspended. So sad, man. So sad for Fred. Fred, I mean, is in the midst of his prime. He is a walking Hall of Famer. He is a team leader, a team captain, a 49ers legend. He is the heart and soul of the San Francisco 49ers team. And just gutted, man. Absolutely gutted for Fred Warner. Oh, so painful. Yeah, man. Absolutely gutted. So, I mean, the 49ers now find themselves without Nick Bosa, without Fred Warner for the rest of the season. That's a really challenging task to overcome. That the 49ers have been doing their best Cinderella run with all these injuries and everything that has been going on. They've been able to stick together. They've been able to have next man up mentality, and guys come in and play well and, get some wins. They are 4-2, but losing Fred Warner and Nick Bosa for the season. Ooh, that hurts, man. That hurts. Hurts my heart, man. That's our guy right there. That's our leader. And that's two huge hits that the San Francisco 49ers get on their front line and in the middle of their defense. So sad. So brutal. Man, this sport can give you everything and it could take it all away just as fast. It'll be really interesting to see how this team bounces back from this. It'll be interesting to see who will fill in. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers drafted Nick Martin in the 3rd round. He's been inactive all year. I mean, you would think you're drafting someone in the 3rd round, you're expecting some big time production from that player as a rookie, at least, a special teams contributor, something like that. I mean, you think about it, Fred Warner was a 3rd round draft pick, Navarro Bowman was a 3rd round draft pick. I mean, D Winters even contributed. I think he was a 4th or 5th round pick, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's going to force Nick Martin to probably try to get on the field. We'll have to see how that one looks. But it's definitely a brutal situation for the 49ers without Fred, without Bosa, because outside of those guys, it's just a lot of young players. It's a lot of inexperienced players. It's a lot of players who haven't played a lot of ball together. So, interesting. Jauan Jennings is telling the media that he is playing with 5 broken ribs. That's kind of wild. That is. Did you hear that? Jauan Jennings, if you're just joining, is apparently playing with 5 broken ribs. So that's quite the development. I mean, geez, man, this team is so hurt, is so injured. Even the guys who are playing are injured, but they're having to play just because it's that they need to get out there, they need to play, they need bodies. Just a brutal turn that this season has seemingly started to take. So, I mean, we'll see, because one of the developments from this game was Jauan Jennings apparently getting into it with Kyle Shanahan on the sideline. So, and his response to that was ask him. So, that's nuts, man. So ultimately, man, just a really bad loss because of the continued injuries, because of what is happening. And so we'll see what the 49ers do next year. It does sound like Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Ricky Pearsall have a chance to return next week. And basically what you're going to have to do is you're just going to try to have to wash this one and move on. It is going to be an extremely large uphill battle for the 49ers to bounce back from this one. With the injuries, we could get into the game and everything like that, but honestly, how they played is almost irrelevant, because the injuries that have occurred will now hinder them throughout the season, and it is going to be such a steep hill to climb. So sad, man. Brutal game. It's a kid's game played for a king's ransom, but it is a demanding season. I would have to say too, I haven't been particularly thrilled with the 49ers offensive line play as of now. Pooney, Brendel, and Colby have been really struggling on the interior. Dominic Pooney seems to be taking a step backwards compared to what he did as a rookie. I don't know if he still has lingering issues with his knee from the knee injury that he suffered in preseason. But yeah, it's brutal. I feel bad to give you the latest on the Fred Warner news, but Fred Warner is out for the season. He will require surgery on a dislocated and a fractured ankle, and he is done for the 2025 season. So just brutal hit on top of a brutal loss. I really wish I had something more profound to say, but ultimately, just this obviously has such a huge impact on the San Francisco 49ers season, their future. There's a lot of implications here outside of just this game. You know, it's this year, obviously, but you know, you hope that Fred is able to return and not have any issues when he comes back. And just brutal, man. Just a brutal one. So, I mean, again, laundry list of issues in this game. This game kind of reminded me of the 2024 San Francisco 49ers, where they were their own worst enemy. Offensive line not holding up well in pass protection. 2 interceptions by Mac Jones. Big plays given up on defense not being able to tackle, injuries. The list goes on and on. You got players and coaches fighting on the sidelines. So, quite the dramatic turn that has taken from the vibes that we were riding high on after the win versus the Rams till now, where we're feeling real low, and just brutal. And I think, it's going to be an interesting situation to see if the San Francisco 49ers are buyers, if the San Francisco 49ers are going to attempt to go out and trade for someone. Are the San Francisco 49ers, what are they going to do? How are they going to respond? It's going to be a fascinating one. Because I do think they can. I mean, I think there's so much parity in the NFL this year. There's the Panthers beat the Cowboys. The 49ers are 3-0 in division. So there's still a chance, man, because I just think also when you look across the league, there are so many injuries to not only just the San Francisco 49ers. There's a lot of injuries. Trey Hendrickson. 49ers fans, we all were like, myself included, go trade for Trey Hendrickson. He got knocked out of this game with a back injury that he was just playing in. So it's, Egbuka got knocked out of this game with the hamstring injury. So it's just the brutal nature of the NFL as it stands right now. There's just a lot of injuries across the board. So I don't think you throw in the towel, honestly. I think you have to keep fighting. But I do believe what will be fascinating is, do the San Francisco 49ers, do they go out and are they buyers? Are they adding at the deadline? I don't know. I would have to say at this point, I would have said, put Jauan Jennings on the trade block, see what you get from Jauan, see if you could throw him in. But I think Jauan Jennings just effectively nerfed his trade value by openly admitting that he has 5 broken ribs and is playing on a high and low ankle sprain. So that to me strikes me as I don't want to say mutiny. I don't think mutiny is the word. But I think with how we know how protective we know the 49ers are about disclosing injury information, the fact that Jauan Jennings went out of his way to disclose that he has 5 broken ribs, um, yeah, probably not a good look. I'm sure Kyle Shanahan is not too thrilled about that. I'm sure John Lynch not too thrilled about that. Hey, man, injuries happen all the time. Like, that's a part of the business. That's a part of the game. But I think him saying that is it's he the way that I'm trying to say this is I think he's saying and divulging that information because he knows Kyle Shanahan wouldn't want him to divulge that is what I'm trying to say. So I don't know if that keeps him in the running to be on the market, to be able to be traded. But I think you got to. If you can trade JJ, I think you got to get him up out of here. He seems like he's not happy, and I can understand potentially why he's not happy, because he obviously wanted to get paid. From what we had heard, it sounded like the San Francisco 49ers had offered him a 3-year contract worth up to $16 million per year. He didn't want that. He opted for a little adjustment to his current deal and then was going to hit free agency this year, but he is not making any money. He's not making money this year. So I would have to imagine the combination of him being hurt, him not having the same type of impact, is probably building a lot of animosity. So if that's how it's going to be, I'm a big fan of Jauan. I think he has been a good player here. I think he plays football the right way. But again, we know what it is. Fallouts happen all the time. And so if that's what's happening, then I think it would be for the 49ers' best interests to try to move on from him at the deadline if you can get something for him. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, just what a brutal loss. Brutal. A lot of random things popping up. But obviously the 49ers hopes and dreams of winning a Super Bowl this season just took a huge hit. So, because we all know Fred Warner, the way he leads, the way he plays, all contribute to the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm really curious to see how they respond, though, because that's what football is about. That's important to remember is, there's a lot of reasons why guys are going to return. They're playing for them. This is a business. So it's not like, oh, we're out of it this year. Let's regroup. Let's shut it down and get ready for next year. That's just not how it works. They don't tank. Jobs are on the line. Jobs are on the line. Hey, I like this optimism, though. Derek says we still win in the Super Bowl, Brad. I like it. I'll take all the optimism I can get right now. I don't know how the rest of the chat feels. Probably not. They probably don't agree with you, but hey, I like the optimism. I think before we make any definitive statements, I want to see what the 49ers look like with Kittle back, with Ricky Pearsall back. See how, if that changes anything. I just think that, right now it's easy to, hang your head and feel bad and feel down, and I totally get that. I'm feeling it myself as well. Just feels like another gut punch. If you're a 49er fan, um, you've been through the ringer in terms of injuries, so I get it. Um, but we'll see. Seen crazier things happen. So I'm not counting the 49ers out yet, me personally at least. But I do recognize that it will be much more challenging to get to the ultimate goal. Lisa says the coaches will rally the team. Super Bowl, baby. Hey, I love the optimism. The 49ers are still 4-2. They I think the 49ers, and I know 49er fans probably don't want to hear this, they're probably missing Ben Barch a little bit. I think they're going to need to get some guys healthy. I don't know. I'm I'm not in love with the Jake Brendel experience, but I also don't know if they have. Um, I don't know what else they have. Cash says we're still only 4-2 with an easy schedule ahead of us. Come on, faithful. I like the optimism. I do. I like the optimism here. Um, let's keep our heads up. We'll see. Uh, Again, like I said, and I'll continue to reiterate, I don't think the 49ers are out of it yet. I really don't. But like I said, I do want to see how they respond at the deadline. Who do they buy? Are they trying to go get replacement players? Um, that's one that I'm interested in. San Fran says, who should SF look at linebacker on the trade market? I really wish the 49ers drafted my boy Teddy Buchanan. He's been starting for the Ravens. Been playing pretty decently. There was a linebacker that was just released recently. I forget his name. He might be on the open market. I think he played for the Rams. He's been a starter. Oh, who was it? I can't even remember if it was the Rams. But obviously, if a player's getting released, it's not the best. I do think Tatum Bethune is a solid linebacker. We'll see how he fits in. Jerome says in Shanahan, Lynch, and Sala, I trust. Do we get to see Nick Martin? You would think that would be the next move. You would think that the 49ers, they spent a third round draft pick on Nick Martin. You would assume that is what's going to be going on, and you're going to be seeing a lot more Nick Martin. But Nick Martin's been inactive up until this point, hasn't really been able to get himself on the field. We saw some glimpses. I just think he's a rookie and probably playing like a rookie. Defense coordinator and linebacker coach probably don't feel that he is quite ready to be relied on just yet. But we don't have a choice now. So we got to see what we got with Nick Martin. I just said this. Yeah, you probably need to get Ben Barch back in that lineup pretty quickly. Heisman says, we make a trade on defense and regroup. We are going to be okay. Coaches will come through. Okay. That's what I want to see. I want to see the 49ers make a move. I really want to see them be active. That's why I'm kind of upset a little bit that Jauan Jennings just said what he said, because I think that kind of nerfs his trade value a little bit. So we'll see. But I would say it's safe to say that Kendrick Bourne has successfully replaced Jauan Jennings, um, which is wild. Honestly, it's kind of crazy um, that has occurred, but that's what has happened. So I think that makes Jauan expendable. Um, Jerome says, I think our offense will be fine. I mean, when you get Brock Purdy and you get George Kittle back into the mix and you get Ricky Pearsall and hopefully you get Ben Barch back, because I do think Ben Barch has to be back into the starting lineup. He was actually playing really well prior to going down with injury. So he probably will get his job back and will probably shore up the offensive line just a little bit. Rocket Man says it's really hard to have faith right now with all the injuries. This loss is insignificant due to Warner's injury. Yeah, I mean, the biggest loss today was the Warner injury. That was the biggest loss of today. With this loss, they still had a chance. They were in it all the way till the end. Even with everything that was going down, if they just got out of their own way, they would have had a shot at this one. So those are the things that I look at specifically when I'm trying to assess a loss: is how did they lose? Did they just get completely dominated? Did they just get completely overtaken? Or how did it happen? Was it a bad bounce? Was it one poor play? And it really came down to just the 49ers, losing on a couple momentum plays that opened and led to larger plays that hurt them more. If they could tackle Baker Mayfield when they had him for a sack, that changes the complexion of the game. Obviously, you don't throw that pick late, that changes the complexion of the game. So I've seen worse 49ers performances. So this one still kind of fits into that category of they contributed to the loss of this game just as much as the Bucs did. Kind of reminded me of last year. So, yeah. I agree. I think that play was the difference maker. In this game where you had a turnover early that led to a score off that turnover, you had to be clean. You had to play clean the rest of the game, and you just had to do your job. And on that play, they didn't do their job. Baker Mayfield made a MVP caliber type play, and then that led to a touchdown, and then he turned it over down 8 points. Again, you had a shot. You were there. Even amidst everything that was going on, you still were in the game. You just gotta you gotta stop beating yourself. You gotta stop beating yourself. So yeah. This is an interesting quote from Trent Williams on Jauan Jennings' injury. He says, "We all go through something. It's football. Not everybody's going through broken ribs and ankle sprains, but we're all going through something. I mean, Mac Jones just had to get a shot in his ribs." Like, so to me, that is Trent Williams calling Jauan low key a little bit of a buster for saying what he said, and that's kind of what we talked about. Like I said, everyone's injured, everyone's going through things, everyone's dealing with something. But again, for Jauan Jennings to go off the rip and say that he has 5 broken ribs and is playing with 5 broken ribs, that is a me comment. That isn't a team comment. That is a me comment. And so there's a lot of red flags that come along with Jauan's comments. And I feel like Trent Williams basically just effectively said the same thing. So really unfortunate to see how this situation's turning out for Jauan. Starting to look like the for sure beginning of the end. I mean, the for sure beginning of the end was when he didn't sign a contract extension and he signed that little adjustment earlier this year. But yeah, Jauan is his time with the San Francisco 49ers is running very thin. Based on comments that were happening, comments that happened today, divulging that injury situation, as well as the situation that played out with Kyle Shanahan and Jauan Jennings on the sideline, where they seemingly got into it. So sad to see. Jauan Jennings was a big part of this 49ers team and this offense. And it seems like it is turning in the wrong direction. So we'll see how the 49ers handle this. We'll see what moves are made. We'll see. So it's been brutal. It's been a tough one. Definitely a brutal loss with obviously the injuries. Now it seems like we got a little bit of drama percolating. So we're going to see how that currently develops, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I appreciate everyone for tapping in on this one. Long week until the 49ers play on primetime against Atlanta back at home, but they have a chance to get it back on track. So appreciate everyone for tapping in. Smash that like button on the way out. Grab some cookies. I know we all need some cookies right now after that game. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.